Welcome. Today we are going to see another very interesting operating guidelines issued by the central government. That is in the form of Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme. That is ECLGS. So this is issued by central government to save the MSME and non-MSME units, including airline sector. So it's a very important circular issued by central government due to the West Asia crisis. Because a lot of units are suffering like anything. So to save them, the central government wants to fund those units in the form of additional working capital. Here we are going to discuss about the highlights of this emergency credit line guarantee scheme. So the views expressed by me here are my views. For clear and proper understanding, please read the operational guidelines issued by government. I am not responsible for any wrong interpretation based on this presentation. This is issued for the benefit of CA members and students. So have you availed working capital limit? That is in the form of fund-based working capital, which includes cash credit, overdraft, working capital demand loan, working capital term loan, bill discounted, packing credit loan, etc. But any fund based on the working capital loan are all covered by this ECLGS. And this is applicable for the MSME and non-MSME other than the airline sector. For airline sector, they have included the working capital, that is apart from the fund-based, they have included non-fund-based loans also. For MSME and non-MSME other than airline sector, only fund-based working capital limits are eligible. But for airline sector, the government has considered fund-based and non-fund-based. This is a difference. And are you facing the financial problems? Because your client may be facing the financial problems due to the working capital shortage. So due to the reason of West Asia crisis, that is war, and the government wants to support all MSME and non-MSME units, including airline sector, and they want to provide the additional working capital term loan. It is not working capital limit, it is working capital term loan for business purpose. And the government has instructed member lending institutions to help all those units and to navigate from the prevailing the economic challenges more effectively. That is to promote out the stress that has been created due to West Asia crisis. It's a very good scheme and it will definitely help almost all the MSME, non-MSME, including airline sector. It's a welcome one. The only one thing is that all the parties of MSME and non-MSME, they have to approach the member lending institutions immediately. That is the very important thing. And here is the scheme that we are going to discuss here. So before going to that, who are all called as member lending institution? That is scheduled commercial banks, scheduled urban cooperative banks, NBFC registered with RBI, financial institutions as defined in 45I of RBI Act of 1934. So the scheme says that hereafter we are going to say the ECLGS as scheme. So the scheme is being managed by National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company Limited, which is called as NCGTC. And NCGTC is a wholly owned company of Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Finance, Government of India as a trustee. So that means the Finance Department, Ministry of Finance has created created the company of NCGTSC. The purpose of the main scheme is that they want to provide, because the MLIs, member lending institutions, are providing loans, additional working capital limits to MSME and non-MSME, including airline sector. So without any collateral they will not sanction, but the central government through Ministry of Finance is going to provide 100% guarantee for the additional working capital limit only. For the towards the MSME and thing, and for the non-MSME and airline sector, the company that is the trustee company provides only 90% guarantee to the MLIs, that is member lending institutions. This scheme comes into effect immediately from 8/5/2026. The duration of the scheme, they are saying that this is a duration. That is, they can sanction the loan from 8/5/2026 to 31/3/27, or till the guarantee amount of rupees 2,55,000 crores, whichever is earlier, that is before 31/3/27, or the exhaustion of guarantee amount of 2,55,000 crores, whichever is earlier, till such time the loan under this ECLGS is being sanctioned. The entire disbursement after sanction has to be completed on or before 36/27 for fund-based advance and non-fund-based advance. For non-fund based advance, at least first reach must be utilized. So this is the duration of the scheme. This is my view on reading this operational guidelines, that the trust is given more to airline sector, because airline sector, that demand for towards a loan will be more. So my sincere advice to the clients of yours, that is for MSME, non-MSME, please approach the bank or MLIs, that is member lending institutions, immediately. If the funds have been exhausted, the MSMEs and non-MSMEs will definitely get only a less share. So the observation during this, the demand for airline sector is more. So MSMEs have to rush to avail the benefits. Please instruct your clients, that is MSME and non-MSME units, please approach the MLIs to avail the more benefits or all the eligible borrowers for MSME, non-MSME, except airline sector. So we are going to discuss who are all eligible borrowers. All business enterprise, including MSME, being a fund-based working capital limits from MLI as on 31/3/20. That is, the borrower should be an existing one, and they should have availed fund-based working capital limits. And as on 31/3/26, all the existing business enterprises are eligible to get this benefit under ECLGS. So, but they say that all the eligible standard SMA 0, SMA 1 customers are only eligible, and if the borrower has already been classified under SMA 2, that is special mention account 2, are not eligible to be covered under this scheme. So the borrower has already availed additional, in case if the borrower has already availed additional credit facility under credit guarantee scheme for exports, they are not eligible to the extent they have already availed. Suppose if they availed a credit guarantee to the extent of 80 crores, and if the eligible limit is 100 crores, only 20 crores, they are eligible to get the benefit under this scheme. So non-MSME in the sector are eligible. That is, all the non-MSME sector is also eligible, but the government has given, that is the operational guideline has given some negative list. But for those negative list units are not eligible to get the benefit of ECLGS. That is all NBFCs, power generation, transmission and distribution companies, telecom service providers, sugar and ethanol manufacturing companies, information technology companies, paper and paper product companies, educational institutions, and beverages, excluding tea and coffee and tobacco, are covered under the negative list. So all the, if your client has are following in this negative list, they are not eligible to get the benefit of ECLGS. So here, for the in case some of the borrowers have got both, they are doing various kinds of business. So some may be in the positive list, some may be in the negative list. So based on the turnover, the negative list eligibility and positive list eligibility are being calculated and proportionate to the turnover. They say that it is not loan. The guideline says it is proportionate based on the proportionate turnover, the eligibility will be arrived. So this is the thing you have to remember. And who are all called eligible borrowers? So that's a very, very important thing. Airline sector, eligible borrowers under the airline sector. Uh, that is only for scheduled passenger airline sector. So that means cargo airlines are not covered under this scheme. So here they should have the outstanding limit, that is credit facilities for both fund-based and non-fund-based. They should have availed from MLIs as on 31/3/26. So, and those airline sector loans should be classified as standard and not SMA2. That means as standard, SMA0, SMA1 are allowed. But if the loan has been classified as SMA2 as on 31/3/26, they are not eligible to be covered under this scheme. So now, what are the loan eligibility? Now we have seen the eligible borrowers. Now we are going to see the eligibility. What's the eligibility? They say that for MSME and non-MSME except airline sector. So up to 20% of up to 20%. So if the bankers or MLIs, they want to sanction 10%, it is also possible. The operational guideline says it is up to 20% of peak working capital, peak fund-based working capital during the fourth quarter. That is 1/1/26 to 31/3/26. Both the days have been included. So up to 20% of the peak fund-based working capital or the eligible loan category. And for each and every MSME, non-MSME, excluding airline sector, the maximum loan for per borrower is 100 crores. But some borrowers would have received the loan from various banks. All the MLIs you have to put together, all the MLIs, it is only up to 100 crores per borrower are eligible to get the benefit under this scheme. So what is the peak working capital utilization? That is highest level of working capital usage by the borrower during the fourth quarter of financial year 2025-26, benchmark for calculating eligible additional funding. That is, the unit should be in existence on 31/3/26. To consider the benefit under the scheme, they have to consider only the peak benefit available under the scheme for the last quarter only. Next one is only the benefits are available only for the regular sanction limit. Sometimes the customers would have received ad hoc limits. Those limits are not covered under this scheme. So now we are going to see the loan eligibility for airline sector up to 100%. So for MSME and non-MSME, other than airline sector, they are eligible to get only 20% of the working capital, fund-based. But here for airline sector, they have said that they can get additional limit, that is up to 100% of the working capital. That is total peak credit for both fund-based and non-fund-based. And the peak credit of the fourth quarter has to be considered. So this is the difference between MSME and non-MSME and airline sector. So for MSME, non-MSME, you are eligible to get only 20%. And for airline sector, it is 100%. That is why in my view, that is they want to save, the government wants to save the airline sector because airline sector suffered a huge loss. So to come out of that, the government is supporting more for the airline sector. So the benefit of additional fund-based and non-fund-based is 100% total peak credit. And here they say that for the MSME and non-MSME, it is 100 crores. But for here, they say that up to 1,500 crores that is put together all the MLIs, that is loans received from MLIs. You can consider. So up to 1,500 crore per borrower they can give. But if the amount goes beyond 1,000 crores and up to 1,500 crores, it will be permitted only when the equal contribution. Suppose if if the airline sector wanted 1,200 crores, beyond 100 crores, it goes, that is 200 crores. So to the equal equity contribution, equal amount of 200 crores has to be brought into by the airline sector. Then the benefit under this scheme exceeds, I mean, they can sanction up to 200 crores. So this is a very, very interesting area. So here, ad hoc limits availed by the airline sectors will not be considered. Only the regular limits are considered. So this is a very, very important thing for MSME and non-MSME. Other than airline sector, you can get only 20% of fund-based working capital limit. For airline sector, they can get 100% of fund-based and non-fund-based. This is the difference. So, and you have to consider only the peak credit availed during the fourth quarter of the financial year 25-26. Whether additional security has to be provided? No, it is not required. So, not to be insisted for MSME and non-MSME except the airline sector. But no fresh collateral, personal or corporate guarantee shall be sought for the scheme except for airline sector. So if you are a MSME unit and if you are a non-MSME unit, you need not provide any fresh collateral to avail the benefits of emergency credit line guarantee scheme. So whether MODT is required, MODT, the loan has to be released immediately. The facility under the scheme, it's only a second charge to the existing credit facilities. So MLIs can create charge on the existing securities, both primary and collateral, and on assets created out of the loan under ECLGS 5.0 within 90 days from the date of the first disbursement. That means as on the date of disbursement, the MLIs need not insist for the creation of MODT, but this MODT has to be created within 90 days from the date of his first disbursement. Is there any charge? No, any charges to be paid by the borrower to MLIs. No processing fee has to be charged by the MLIs. No guarantee fee has to be charged by NCGTC. So it's a very, very important thing. You need not pay any charges to MLIs. Now we are going. So, okay, sir, we have availed. Now we have to repay the loan. What is the what are the conditions? So from the date of first disbursement, they have classified the repayment of into two parts. One is applicable for MSME and non-MSME excluding the airline sector. That is 5 years from the date of first disbursement, including holiday period or moratorium period of 1 year. That is, first year is called as holiday period and our moratorium period. After that, it is 4 years. So, as per the bank's terms and conditions, you have to repay the loan within a period of 5 years, which includes holiday period or moratorium period of 1 year. For airline sector, they say that the loan has to be repaid within 7 years. And the holiday period and moratorium period given to airline sector is 2 years. So the benefits are more for the airline sector when compared to MSME or non-MSME sectors. So this is the term. For MSME, non-MSME, the loan has to be repaid within a period of 5 years, including 1 year as the holiday period. And for airline sector, it is 7 years, including moratorium period of 2 years. In case if the borrower has repaid the loan at the earlier, whether the prepayment charges has to be charged? No, it should not be charged. No prepayment charges for earlier repayment of the loan under the scheme. Can a new borrower is eligible? Suppose a borrower has availed the loan from the from the MLIs after 31/3/26, whether they are eligible to get the loan? No. all the existing borrower on the books of MLIs as on 31/3/26 are eligible to get the benefits under Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme. Whether charge has to be created on the collateral loan for the unsecured loans, because sometimes the loans has been sanctioned under credit guarantee scheme. So in that there is no collateral security. So there is no need for the bankers to create additional charge. That is, there is no charge is required to be created or extended because there is no MODT for those loans. What's the interest rate? Yes, now the loan is repaid. I'll repay the loan. What is the interest rate? For both the MSME sector and non-MSME sector, the maximum interest rate is 9%. So here for MSME, they consider that external benchmark lending rate plus 0.75% with a cap of 9%. That is, the maximum interest rate is 9%, even if external benchmark lending rate exceeds 9%. The same is also for non-MSME, and there they say that MCLR for MSME, they say that external benchmark lending rate, for non-MSME, marginal cost of funds plus 0.5% with a cap of 9%. That is, maximum interest rate should not exceed 9%, even if MCLR exceeds 9%. So, with reference to the loans, MLIs given by NBFC, the rate of interest should not exceed 13% per annum. For airline sector, it has to be decided by the board approved policy of the lending institution. So, this is the interest rate for MSME, 9% maximum. For non-MSME, 9% maximum. Loan sanctioned by NBFC, it is the maximum interest rate should not exceed 13% per annum. For airline, the interest rate has to be decided by the board's policy. What is that? When we have to service the interest. So as and when the interest is due, it has to be serviced during the moratorium period. Including the moratorium period, the interest has to be serviced immediately. But for airline sector, again, they are giving the benefits to airline sector up to 50% of estimated interest of amount of moratorium period can be earmarked from the proposed additional ECLGS facility towards FI. So this is the difference with reference to service of interest. So benefit of service of interest is more to airline sector when compared to MSME and non-MSME. This is my view. And now, how the borrower has to apply for the benefit under the ECLGS. First thing, the borrower shall mandatorily apply on the Jan Samath portal by giving self-declaration by furnishing the required particulars details in the application form. Here, the borrower has to apply on the Jan Samath portal. You please go and approach the MLIs. They will give the details of Jan Samath portal, and few MLIs they have started to help the borrowers by themselves. They are applying through Jan Samath portal on behalf of the borrower. I heard, and the application will then be processed will be forwarded to the lender, that is MLIs, and they select the borrower based on the application and based on the eligibility under the scheme and subject to satisfactory evaluation, the loan is sanctioned. The sanction details have to be uploaded by the lender on Jan Samath portal, and the same thing shall be shared on real-time basis with NCGTC. So you have to apply through Jan Samath portal. Then the branch has received the Jan Samath portal. They consider and they evaluate your eligibility. Then they sanction, and this sanction has to be intimated to the borrower as well as to the NCGTC on real-time basis. Now, release or replacement of, yes, we have availed loan under ECLGS. Can the release of existing securities be insisted? No, it should not be insisted. And we have to replace, suppose if some of the borrowers want to replace the existing securities, yes, it is permitted. provided it has to be taken, it has to be considered by the MLIs as per the scheme. Okay, sometimes I have availed benefit under ECLGS. Can this loan be taken over by another bank? Yes, it is permitted. That is after availing the loan under ECLGS, and if the borrower wants to approach another bank to take over, yes, the new MLIs can take over the loan, but the repayment schedule should not be changed. The same thing should be followed. Now, there are some borrowers who avail the loan under consortium loans. And yes, can a single banker, and that is, can a single member banker can give the loan by adding all the bank's eligible limit? Yes, it is also permitted. Individual banker, they can also consider. Sometimes they only one financial institutions, they want to, one institution, it wants to sanction a individual loan. But in that case, they have to get NOC from other membership bank, other member banks. Then it is permitted. Here, now the MLI wants to claim the default amount uh, from the NC, that is from the National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company, because a borrower has become a defaulter or has become an NPA customer, then the bank, that is MLI, can apply to NCGTC by way of a claim. So any loan sanctioned under the scheme has become NPA or default, then MLI has to apply with the NCGTC and the claim amount. It has to produce all the evidences of the scheme, all the evidences, how to get all the details they have to submit. We'll see what all the things they have to submit. That is, the MLIs has to submit the sanction letter facility under the scheme, loan ledger of the borrower existing facility for the fourth quarter of financial year 2025-26, loan ledger of facility under the scheme till date of claim, indicating date-wise outstanding balance, send credit bureau report or data evidencing status of the account on reference date, that is as on 31/3/26, document evidencing the legal action taken. All these details they have to submit to the NCGTC at the time of claim of the amount. So MLIs has to follow, then the MLIs can submit the claim with the NCGTC. Simultaneously, MLIs has to follow the loan recovery from the borrower. So here, this is very, very important. The some amount of claim has been paid by the NCGTC to MLIs, and after that, the loan recovery has come. So those loan recoveries have to be returned to NCGTC. Otherwise, the MLIs has to pay interest, 4% interest plus repo rate. So repo rate plus 4% interest they have to pay to NCGTC till they settle the amount. Now, how the NCGTC release the amount? So on claim application submitted by MLIs, the NCGTC first make the payment of 75%, that is interim relief, of the amount of default within 30 days of claim. That is after scrutiny. If the NCGTC is satisfied, then they will immediately release 75% of the default amount within 30 days of the claim. Then recovery process, everything is going on. Then final claim of 25% of the guaranteed amount will be paid on the conclusion of recovery proceedings. That is, hereafter we will not be able to recovery possibilities from the borrower, or 3 years from the date of settlement of first claim, whichever is earlier. So here, this is very, very important. The MLIs has to prove that it is not possible for them to recover the defaulted or NPA amount from the borrower. That is then only the NCGTC will settle the balance amount of 25%. So this is what I want to say with the reference to National that is on emergency credit line guarantee scheme. So it is my sincere request, please approach your MLI, member lending institution. If you avail any working capital fund-based limit from the banks, for example, you please immediately go and approach them. You will get 20% of fee credit that you have availed during the last quarter of 31/3/2026. That is from 1/1/26 to 31/3/26. And for if you are in airline sector, then you will get 100% of fee credit. So that is the important thing. So the MSMEs and non-MSMEs and including airline sector will be benefited out of this emergency credit line guarantee scheme. Thanks to the Ministry of Finance to issue and save the face value of all the MSMEs and non-MSMEs, including airline sector. Thank you very much for patiently watching this program. Nandri, Vanakkam.